Brand new rules to prevent kids from vaping and using e-cigarettes. The FDA is speeding up planned enforcement to close loopholes that make these products accessible to kids. Good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Nelson.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. The FDA says studies show kids are particularly attracted to flavored e-cigarettes pods. Chris Costa, what's the FDA now targeting?
Well, Lee and Lindsay, it's flavors like mango, bubblegum, cotton candy. Those are some of the flavors that the FDA is concerned about. It's already illegal for kids under age 18 to buy these products, but the FDA says kids are still able to. And the new policies are designed to tighten sales and eventually remove from the market many of these fruity flavors that the FDA blames are fueling the epidemic levels of teen use. Employees stock shelves with all kinds of tobacco products in convenience stores across Maine, but flavored e-cigarette pods are out.
In general, they are a pretty popular device.
Waldo's General Store Assistant Manager Mandy Littlefield supports new efforts by the FDA to crack down on sales of popular flavored pods like berry or mango to kids under 18.
It shouldn't be easy for them to get. It should be hard for them to get.
The FDA wants to make sure sellers have independent ways of checking the age of buyers, both in retail stores and online. An attempt to close a serious loophole that's easy to navigate.
All I had to do was click a button to verify if I was 21 or not.
One of the most popular brands, Juul, stopped selling flavored pods to retail stores 4 months ago. Still, kids are able to get their hands on knockoff versions online.
You don't know what you're getting. They don't know what they're putting in their bodies.
Falmouth Middle School Resource Officer Jeff Smith teaches health classes to warn students about the dangers of these popular items.
You only have one brain, and if that doesn't develop properly, you're likely to have some mental illness later on down the road.
Are you doing a safe drop?
A pain Mandy knows very well.
And it is hard because I still have a hard time with it.
She started smoking cigarettes at 16 and still struggles to quit.
It's not good to smoke any kind of nicotine. It's a very controlling drug.
Now, the FDA also plans to require companies to show that the products that they're making meet the FDA's public health requirements 1 year earlier than the FDA had previously announced. So, Lee and Lindsay, they're trying to make sure that these products, when they go to market, are not going to be as dangerous as some of the ones that are and were on the market exposed to some of these kids.
Right. This whole issue is so scary because, I mean, for years the smoking rate was going this way, and suddenly starts to go the other way.
The FDA had a recent study that had come out that found 3.6 million teens in the year 2018 had used an e-cigarette in the past 30 days. Wow. And that's just the ones that are reporting it. There are probably plenty more who are using it and not saying that they're doing so. Now, these policies aren't necessarily going into effect yet. It's still a draft. They're waiting for public comments. But this is the goal of Scott Gottlieb, the commissioner, who's been trying to crack down on teen use of these products.
Wow, Chris Costa, thanks so much for that. I'm hoping that these spring temps stick around for a little bit because, man, I'm getting comfortable.
I know. The more you get used to it, the more it's going to hurt when it changes.
I know.
I don't see it in the next week, though. I mean, it's
really.
Yeah, tomorrow's the warmest day, but I don't see like a real
like a drop
hit in the
off,
face,
a
kinda,
sudden plunge.
Yeah. So
okay.
There you go. I'm excited about that. 40s today, and most spots mid-40s a little bit inland. We had a little bit of a coastal cloud problem, so that kept temperatures down to the 41 in Portland for a high. But yeah, certainly still mild out there. 39 in Portland, 42 in Augusta, 45 in Waterville. And the satellite, clean in a lot of spots, but we did have that low cloud cover hanging along the coastline. You look into the mountains, checking out a couple of webcams out there, and it was nice and sunny through the entire day, so that drove temperatures a lot. Obviously, areas that were sunny ended up with those warmer readings. Cold front here, trough behind it. So this front is going to come through tomorrow afternoon, and a couple of showers will come with it, and then this little trough will try to come through on Saturday. Neither of them, though, very strong, and so I think the story tomorrow is going to be the warmth. We start right around 40 degrees in a lot of spots, and we're into the mid-40s fast. Couple of showers around, a good amount of clouds, but it's mild into the 50s and even some isolated 60s tomorrow afternoon as the showers move out after that. Saturday looks mild as well. Guys, the Sea Dogs are doing the thing where it's 10 cents per degree of the temperature tomorrow at 9 a.m. And actually, compared to other years, not as good a deal this year because I think it'll be about 44 or so tomorrow morning.
Huh.
Right.
Good to know. Insider trading information.
All right, let's check some news. Another rebuke of President Trump's emergency declaration for the border with Mexico, the purpose of which was to bypass Congress to secure funding for the wall, of course. The Senate, which is controlled by Republicans, has voted to overturn the president's declaration. The vote 59-41, and this represents perhaps a watershed moment as the president's own party is split on this issue. But Mr. Trump has promised a veto, and it looks like Congress does not have the votes to override a veto.
If Great Britain does end up leaving the European Union, it likely won't happen this month. Just 2 weeks before the scheduled exit, British lawmakers have voted to delay Brexit for at least another 3 months. This after the House of Commons once again rejected Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit plan. That happened earlier this week. Still, any extension to Brexit must be approved by all the remaining 27 EU countries.
A couple of college students have filed suit against the University of Southern California, Yale, and the other colleges involved in Operation Varsity Blues, the scandal. These are the schools where prosecutors say parents bribed college officials to get their kids admitted. Some of these parents allegedly spent more than $1 million to ensure their kids got in. The suit was filed by Erica Olson and Kalia Woods. They allege that they were denied a fair opportunity for admittance into Yale and USC.
Families of victims from the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School can now sue Remington over how it marketed the rifle used in the 2012 attack. That's according to Connecticut's top court, which reinstated a lawsuit brought by the victims' families. The state Supreme Court was divided in the case, issuing a split decision of 4-3. Today's decision overturns a lower court's ruling that the lawsuit was prohibited by a federal law shielding a gun manufacturer from liability when its products are used in crimes. 26 children and 6 educators were killed in Newtown, Connecticut in 2012.
Facebook is apologizing for that outage that occurred on its platforms, Facebook Messenger and Instagram. The outages started around 11 yesterday morning, and you probably knew something was happening. Facebook is saying it was a partial outage and blamed a server configuration change for the problem. The social media giant today was more than happy to post being back up and running.
There were some great viewer comments, though, from this post. Melissa says, "First world problems are the worst." Jamie added, "So wait, you're telling me people actually had to talk to each other face to face and not use the Facebook?" I mean, it really was. I feel like the newsroom came to a screeching halt at one point when we couldn't post to Facebook.
Right, right.
Boy, how times have changed.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? An update to a story we told you about earlier this year. An organization that collects donated formal wear was in need of a new place to call home.
Yeah, after a couple of months of searching, the Main Event Prom Project announced its new location on Portland Road in Bridgeton. There's going to be a soft opening to help students find the perfect prom dress, regardless of financial challenges, later this month. And we do have information about that on the Now section of our website and mobile app.
And by the way, we want to remind you guys about our blood drive happening later this month. March 27th, 5 locations across the state. 1 donation can save up to 3 lives. So many of you turned out for this last year, so thank you to those who did. To skip the lines this year, register now. Remember those lines last year? We have all the information you need to do that right now at Facebook and our website.
All right, there are many types of races and obstacle courses around the world. The one we're about to see might be the most picturesque of them all.
Interesting. Plus, there's a shortage of teachers in Maine's largest city. The solution is twofold.
What's the race?
I don't know. Now I'm curious.
I did a Spartan in Italy last year.
Okay, remind me what's in a Spartan race. Is it running?
Yes, a lot of running, but it's obstacles too. Carrying heavy things, climbing, going through mud, carrying rocks up mountains.
Do you get shocked, electric shocks? I've heard that's a thing.
You do crawl under some wires in water. But in that one, I didn't get shocked. It's very, very light. I didn't really feel it. I think some of the other ones are worse.
Yeah, I've heard.
But you do crawl in the mud, and you and the water's cold, and it's pretty tough. They all kind of vary from race to race.
What's going on Facebook? Oh, Leo's bringing up this dress debate again.
There's a debate about your dress?
Yes, for this one. This one looks red on television, but it's orange in real life.
Oh, yeah. That actually happens a lot.
It does.
Yeah, that really happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird.
A lot of you guys are voicing concerns about e-cigarettes and Juuls, especially like Philip and others pointing to the fact that we don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, what the health implications are yet. Like Sally mentions that as well.
Yeah, they really freak me out because I don't know. It removed, I don't know. There was a bad connotation to smoking for so long. I feel like my kids didn't smoke.
Right.
And then it's changing. It's scary.
I just ran into. We're going to go to the monitor, but I just ran into a few weeks ago back in my hometown, our school's alcohol and drug enforcement officer. Her name's Mrs. Newell, and I still remember the big oversized cigarette she used to carry around, and that she used to fill it with money, and she said, "This is what you can buy if you're not spending money on cigarettes."
So your
and
school
that stuck with me.
Had a what?
It was like a drug and alcohol prevention officer, resource officer. Yeah. It was through a grant program.
I just wanted to add for the guys who are watching on Facebook, one thing I didn't get to talk about during my story, Officer Smith from Falmouth was saying that one of the most important things that parents can do is just be in tune with what their kids are doing and talk with them about this frequently. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing and don't do this, but talk about it with them so that you guys are on the same page.
And let them know.
Yeah, that you're concerned and why you're concerned.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
The conversation is so important.
Where are we?
Fair point.
There we are.
There we go. A Washington State man beat some incredible odds while playing the lottery. He put $1 into a lottery machine and used the quick pick feature to pick his numbers. The machine then popped out a ticket with both lines matching exactly the same. The odds of something like this happening, twice that of actually winning the lottery. However, lottery officials say despite this, the man's ticket wasn't a winner, so no cash prize for him.
I would have immediately thought there was something wrong if that happened, but I guess not.
Yeah.
All right. So you've always wanted to go up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, but probably not like this. 130 athletes battling high wind and lashing rain in the Eiffel Tower vertical race.
Wow.
In Paris, obviously. The race was a time trial with departures every 30 seconds, and competitors had to race up 1,665 steps, and Piotr Lobodzinski won the race for a 5th year in a row with a time of 7 minutes and 53 seconds, and Australia's Susie Walsham claimed the victory for the women, also 5th consecutive year. She hit a time of 10 minutes and 16 seconds.
That's pretty impressive. I would be so winded. I can't go up the stairs at work without losing my breath. All right, March 14th might be just another day for some. Others celebrate Pi Day to honor that mathematical constant and, of course, the delicious dessert. A Google employee calculated the value of pi to 31.4 trillion digits, smashing the previous Guinness World Record by almost 9 trillion digits. And, of course, plenty of pie eaten by all as well. Pizza pie included. That counts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That would be the way I would lean. Coming up, a semi-truck survived some pretty strong wind.
And stay tuned, Keith's forecast coming up next. Oh, that's nice. Serious. Did you just go, Okay. So Facebookers, I'm about to go to my desk for the next shot. I have the comments up here too if you want to use this. I'm gonna.
Oh, so you're doing this solo.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I'm still learning.
It's all right.
You folks out there, how this show works.
How it works.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I'll be right
back.
back.
I've actually, I have them up now too.
Oh, good. Okay.
I figured it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
One of the things I wanted to mention too about the e-cigarettes Juul topic, I talked to a pediatric pulmonologist. He said 2 things that really stuck with me. One, kids that have respiratory issues like asthma, even cystic fibrosis, are juuling and are using e-cigarettes because it's the cool thing to do.
Right.
So one thing parents can look for, even though they don't give off a smell, you can see if your kid's using more of their asthma medicine, and that's an indicator that they're using.
Interesting.
So that stuck with me. He also said it's a wise idea. This is something that Chris mentioned too. When you're at your child's primary care doctor, pediatrician, maybe opt to leave the room for a little bit when the doctor asks about those questions, because kids are most likely to answer honestly to an adult that's not their parent.
Right.
Or a
Right.
trusted adult, I should say.
Right. Interesting.
So,
you know, it's funny, when your kid turns 18, you're not allowed in the room.
I found that out too, actually, because I was still going to my pediatrician for checkups before college sports. I went for far too long. And like my mom goes with me everywhere. No, that's not really how I found out, but it's true. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. When you have to get those like exams signed off for sports, I didn't want to switch a doctor. I liked my one from childhood.
You get comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get comfortable. All right, so she's going over to introduce her story. Take a look at what's going on here. Where's... All right. Nice tie, thank you, if that's to me, but it's probably to Keith, because he was just featuring his tie.
I have them all.
Although I like mine too.
Not about you.
It's not about me. Oh, I gotta stretch.
Starting a new life in a different country. Off, but for those who are trained as teachers, there's new hope in Portland. The students who use this classroom have one thing in common. They once worked as teachers in other countries.
I think some of our methods here in the U.S. may be different.
It's part of Portland's new Education Academy, a program designed to help diversify the workforce.
I think it's a great group of students, and I'm very pleased with how they're doing.
Sally Sutton is the program's coordinator. She and others have been helping close to a dozen new Mainers gain certification for local teaching jobs.
Our immigrant population in Portland is ideally suited.
Jobs that are in high demand.
We have shortages in things like world languages, in mathematics, definitely in special education.
Portland Public Schools Superintendent Javier Botana says welcoming immigrants is about more than filling a teaching gap. Right now, does the staff reflect the diversity of the students? I mean, is the staff as diverse as the students?
Nowhere near.
For Portland Public Schools, students of color make up 40% of total enrollment. 97% of the faculty are white.
This is our effort to figure out how to leverage that potential that they bring and have that be something that helps us to fill our classrooms with the types of teachers that our students will benefit from.
As students are sitting there in the classroom, they will see a face that looks like theirs. They will have someone who's gone through some of the experiences that they have gone through, and hopefully someone that they can identify with.
Classes have been going on for the last couple of months now. Education Academy is just one part of the new Mainers Resource Center at the Portland Adult Education Center, which over the last year has helped more than 2,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Very. This is too, in a new and totally different way. They call Chicago the Windy City, but boy, they got some strong wind in Texas too. Look at that. That's a 75-mile-an-hour wind gust in Amarillo, and it tossed that semi right on its side. You can see the trailer lift off the ground, take the cab right with it. Thankfully, no major injuries were reported in the crash, and the driver actually will probably be glad the video exists because it proves there was no driver error, right?
Yeah, no
The winds
kidding.
would probably do that too. Every once in a while I'll get an email from someone who says, hey, I have to go to either court or something over an accident. Can you provide me the weather conditions for that day? So you can do it in retrospect. It's a lot easier.
Do you charge
Have you got
extra for
video?
that?
Yeah, I'm always like, just know I'm not coming to testify. As long as we're clear on that, it's all good. All right, today was mildish, and as everybody keeps waiting to get like back into
We're
winter.
waiting for the
Right.
butt.
Yeah.
For the ball to drop,
Just
or
waiting
the
for
other
that.
shoe to drop, or something like that.
I don't know. I don't see it. So Doesn't mean it can't happen. I just don't see it in the next week to 10 days. Upper 30s, 40s right now. Actually a little bit warmer in the mountains today than the coastline. They saw more sunshine, and of course the sun angle this time of year is quite impactful. So the low clouds along the coast muddled it, mucked it up a little bit. We got into the low 40s in most spots. Mid 40s though, inland and into the high terrain. Here comes our next system for tomorrow. Cold front trailing trough is what I would call it. And so this comes through tomorrow with a couple of showers, and then this tries to come through on Saturday, although I think most of us stay dry on Saturday. So neither one of these fronts is all that strong. And before that cold front gets here, we're going to stay mild overnight tonight, upper 30s, low 40s. This is in the middle of the night. So we actually continue to melt snow overnight in a lot of spots. And then tomorrow we get into the 40s quickly, some 50s and even some low 60s out there. Couple of showers around. Doesn't look like anything overly heavy, and it's not just a shield of rain. So the showers will be kind of off and on. And then by late afternoon we might be able to clear those out, and that'll be our warmest time of the day. It stays mild again overnight, and then Saturday looks partly cloudy. A couple of snow showers in the mountains, most of us though into the mid and upper 40s along the coastline. So another mild day on Saturday. Here are the high temperatures tomorrow. Warmest spots: Sanford, Portland 54. I've got Freiburg at 56. The mountains though even into the upper 40s to low 50s there as well. So as Lee and Lindsay have kind of alluded to, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, but you look into next week, at least the beginning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's really nothing going on. I mean, could get a snow shower from this little front on Thursday, but the temperatures stay on the warm side. You could just look at the colors. That's all you really need to know. That's our biggest cool down for St. Patrick's Day, and it's not that cold. And then kind of watch this green take over, a very flat zonal flow into next weekend. So there's not going to be any big cold in there, that's for sure. St. Patrick's Day, partly cloudy, upper 30s, mid 30s, depending on your location. Looks pretty good on Monday. You see that little weird snowflake overnight Monday into Tuesday. That's similar to what happened last night, where we got just random snow overnight, but then it melted the next day. So the timing in this pattern is it would have to be overnight to get any kind of snow. And today was no issue for the most part.
No.
So.
No.
That's
right.
it.
Fair enough.
Fair
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's all he wrote.
Thank you. Now a designer in Austin got quite the surprise when actor Matthew McConaughey wore one of her creations at a red carpet event over the weekend.
The shirt caught a lot of people's attention, and as Jenny Lee tells us, the owner of the company made that shirt more than a decade ago.
Inside the ship container shop in East Austin, the sounds of sewing machines fill the air. At the helm of custom chain stitching studio Fort Lonesome and underneath the neon sign sits Kathy Sever.
Somebody tagged us in the photo that I reposted.
At first, she had no idea that this picture was going around on social media.
It felt like it came out of nowhere, and then I just started kind of seeing it all over the place. So I reposted it and told a little bit of a funny story about how things kind of sometimes come out of nowhere.
The picture features actor, producer, and Austinite Matthew McConaughey wearing a shirt Sever made for him 10 to 15 years ago, only she has never seen him wear it until now.
I thought it was hilarious.
Hilarious because the shop owner had just gone through what she described as brutal artistic rejection.
We just went through a situation where we made a suit for a very high-profile performer, and it didn't happen, and it was really disappointing.
It turns out she also thought that's what happened 15 years ago with McConaughey, when she didn't see him wear the shirt he's wearing in the picture.
As a person that makes things and send them out into the world, it can be really complicated to try to figure out how to process when something that you've spent a lot of time and energy on basically just gets rejected by the person that it's for. And I kind of thought that that's what had happened with this shirt 15 years ago.
Since the post,
it was a nice surprise.
Several people have reached out to Fort Lonesome. The 19-year-old company is getting renewed attention.
It got reposted by GQ, and they tagged us.
But she doesn't expect an immediate boost in business. Custom garments just aren't impulse buys.
These things tend to be sort of more of a slow burn.
Fashion. Very good. A lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30. Let's check in with Cindy Williams for a preview. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. Maine Governor Janet Mills wants to expand access to abortion services in the state of Maine, particularly to women in more rural parts of the state. She says there's an easy way to do that, one that makes a lot more sense than what is now on the Maine's law books. We'll explain what she is proposing. And Maine is sitting on a grant of more than $1 million to build a tech-focused vocational school in Washington County. But the problem is the school boards involved can't agree on where to put it, and if they don't decide soon, they'll lose the money. Plus, rage rooms are all the rage right now. It's like what it sounds like. You pay to go into a room and just let loose. We'll take a look at what that's all about. Back to you.
Very zen-like, I'm sure.
I might need one of those. one of these days.
Thanks, guys. We'll be right back. Brain drops. Awesome. Adios.
Adios.
All right. Do it.
Okay, cool.
Hey, can you go down? What have you got? Brain drops at the end?
Yes.
Small one?
Not that long. Do you need to be long? No. Okay.
David says it was around 50 degrees up in Jackman today and it felt great.
Yeah, the mountains are good today.
Yeah.
How much snow they got up in Jackman still?
How much snow in Jackman, David?
Okay, Lisa.
We want to know. Hello. There we go. So we're going to do the snap maps first.
Okay. Yeah, my
Except
brain
we're
drop's
not
all that long. So.
We're not looking at snaps in Maine. We're going to look at in California. This like hotspot popped up this afternoon of people snapping about butterflies. I know butterflies make a, okay, this might sound really dumb, but you might know the answer to it.
Forward to this?
Butterflies, I do know, like birds,
Yeah.
move.
They migrate.
They migrate, yes, for weather and for seasons.
Yeah.
So are they migrating through Florida right now? I mean through California?
I don't think they go that far.
That's what I don't know.
But
So
I'm not sure.
there was a sanctuary I went to one time in Illinois where they do migrate through and they stop like a couple times a year and you can go and they're everywhere.
That's a good question.
So
How
I
far
don't
could
know.
How far could they go?
I don't know, but wait till you see these videos.
Yeah, they die pretty quick and they don't move that fast. So I don't
Pretty
know
little
how much
butterfly.
time they want to travel.
So we'll see.
This is a good Google.
Yeah.
I'm sure it depends on the type, but.
Sure. And if anybody crushes their wings along the way.
Right.
Poor butterflies. I do know several people who have butterfly phobias.
Really?
Yes.
I don't love them. Like, I went into the Museum of Science where they have the butterfly, like, place where they all live.
They'll let you fly.
I don't like them flying around me. Like, I don't want them
Well,
landing on
then
me.
you just don't like insects generally.
I guess, yeah.
Big moths are not like my favorite, but I'm such a hippie. I never kill any of them. I just let them. We
Yeah,
had one
let
living in
them
our
live.
house for like 3 weeks, and then he just like dropped dead on the floor. I'm like, R.I.P. But I didn't do it.
We used to have one of those, like, trappers that you would keep it to keep them alive and then release them.
Release them, yeah.
On the Snap Maps today, we're going to take a trip to California because there's a hot spot where butterflies are popping up everywhere. Keith and I were just wondering how far they can migrate and if Southern California is maybe one of their migration stops.
Tomorrow's brain drops, it sounds like to me.
Seriously.
You know, I'm always looking for ideas. I don't know how far
mean,
they go.
These videos are so impressive. They're getting so close to, some of them are monarchs. I think these are monarchs.
They've got to be like hatching, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
They couldn't fight the wind. Right, so like if they were to migrate per se, and the wind went the opposite direction, I don't see how they could even get
And we
there.
saw what that wind was like in Texas today.
Yeah, I
blowing
don't know.
the semi-truck
like
over,
birds
so.
can fight wind, but wait, hold on. Can we go back to Snap Apps real quick because this ties in inadvertently. Maybe we can.
Who would have thought?
Well, there's
Okay.
Look what's trending over here. Bomb cyclone.
The bomb cyclone.
Okay.
Your favorite
Now
two
let's
words.
move on so I can hate on it. All right, so here's the thing. I am a passionate weather person, and I use weather slang terms that you may not have heard prior to meeting me. Like I use blowtorch when it's going to be warm and
Greasy roads when the roads are going to be greasy.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Just kidding.
One of my favorites, but because it's just fun. But I hate this stuff. So Bomb cyclone is the storm that they're calling this storm in the middle of the country. So bombogenesis is a real thing. It's when a storm system drops 24 millibars or more, which is a measure of pressure, in 24 hours. So it's rapidly intensifying. Some of our nor'easters will be bombs, the bombogenesis. The cyclone thing's the thing that annoys me because that's a southern hemisphere way to say low pressure system. So you go down there, you'll see cyclones and anticyclones. Anticyclones are high pressure, cyclones are low pressure. So to me, now we're purposefully using a word that we don't use around here to make it sound scarier. For example, a typhoon versus a hurricane. What if all of a sudden our next hurricane we called a typhoon? People would freak out because what's that?
Right.
So I'm really against this. Like, I love weather. I just don't know why it has to be the polar vortex or the bomb cyclone. How about strong storm, cold air? Can we live with that?
That would be pretty basic.
It's like the same thing. So.
This oversaturated world we live in. All right, a lot more coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30, and it starts right now.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Bye, Facebookers. We'll see you tomorrow.